Welcome to this episode of the Verilog Bench. Today we're going to be looking at the current overview of the AHB Protocol in Issue C. This is the top-level reading of IHI 0033C. Issue A defined AHB Lite. Issue B added AHB 5, and Issue C extends at family again. So this cut is the clean overview before we split into the RTL and software views. The revision ladder is important because it explains the current mental model. Issue A is the AHB Lite baseline. Issue B adds AHB 5 capabilities, and Issue C keeps that structure while adding more explicit interface detail. So when the current specification says AHB, it is talking about the family, not pretending those differences never existed. The core transfer model is still the first thing to keep in your head. A manager drives address and control first. The data phase follows, and those phases overlap from one transfer to the next. That overlap is what makes AHB pipelined. H-ready inserts waits, and H-response tells you whether the transfer completed cleanly or with an error. Once you move beyond single accesses, the next layer is transfer types and bursts. H-trans distinguishes idle, busy, non-sequential, and sequential traffic. H-burst describes how long the burst is and whether it wraps, and the protocol keeps strict rules around waits and around incrementing bursts crossing a 1 kilobyte boundary. The decode and response path also matters at overview level. The protocol expects clean address region selection, a sensible default subordinate strategy for unmapped space, and a proper response path back to the manager. And one detail worth remembering is that an error response is not a one-cycle blip. It is a two-cycle response. AHB 5 broadens the attribute model. Protection control carries richer memory-type information, and secure versus non-secure traffic becomes part of the family when that property is enabled. The important point is that these additions extend the meaning of the address phase. They do not replace the bus timing model. Issue C also makes the interface description side cleaner. Widths are expressed as properties. The protocol still uses separate read and write data buses, and the Endian model is spelled out for Little Endian, byte invariant Big Endian, and word invariant Big Endian cases. The advanced synchronization story lives in Atomicity and exclusive transfers. Atomicity properties describe what kind of update visibility the system guarantees, while exclusive transfers provide the retry-based mechanism used for semaphore-style updates. Those features are powerful, but they are still optional and region-dependent. If you only remember one revision-specific slide from this overview, make it this one. Issue C adds with properties, write strobes, updated user signaling, explicit signal validity rules, and optional parity-based interface protection. That is why Issue C feels more explicit and easier to reason about than the earlier releases. The overview takeaway is that Issue C is the current AHB baseline because it keeps the original bus model, retains the AHB Lite foundation, and makes the newer AHB 5 capabilities more explicit. That is why this is the right starting point before we change audience and go deeper. If this overview was useful, like and subscribe to be notified of future videos. Next, we keep Issue C as the baseline, but switch into the RTL and verification view before we do the software and firmware cut. To close, here's a glossary for the main family terms. AHB means Advanced High Performance Bus. AHB Lite is the single manager subset. AHB 5 is the later capability extension layer, and manager is the Issue C term for the transaction initiator. Subordinate is the Issue C term for the responding target. The address phase is where address and control are presented. The data phase is where the transfer completes, and H-trans is the transfer type signal. H-burst describes the burst form. H-ready indicates completion or waiting. H-ready out is the subordinate side wait signal, and H-response reports OK or error.